We are live, just in case you're wondering. Hey, Charlene. Hi, Dory. Welcome to the program. Welcome, everyone. Be ready to go in just a couple of minutes here. Hi, JB. Hey, for you guys that are here, do you guys hear music in the background? Okay, gotcha. Think we're good. Nice. JB, thank you for your support. I watch other stuff too, from sometimes locals from other towns that I don't obviously can't vote there, but some of the conversations are very interesting. Welcome to Manny Behind the Mic, everyone. Tonight we've got another special program. Our guest is Mr. Bryan Martinez. He's a candidate for City Commissioner of Brownsville, Texas, for District Number 1. And he will be with us here in just a moment. It's been a full, well, the last week we've had a bunch of candidates, either for the commissioner races or for the mayoral race. And I've reached out to everyone. I've heard back from almost everyone, just a few that haven't responded at all. And just putting it out there. I tried. If they don't want to come on, that's their prerogative. But no, let's get this thing going. Bryan, you ready? You want to pop you up over here? There he is. How you doing, Bryan?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you for taking the time to come to the program, and some of the viewers can get to know you. I know that this is your first time getting into politics for yourself. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's my very first time running in a campaign. I have been involved previously in other campaigns and around the community, but me running the first time, yes, this is it.
All right. Now, I guess we'll start the same way I start with everyone else. Tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us where the heck you came from, what your background is, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Manny. And good evening to everybody who's joining us today. I apologize for last week. We had to reschedule, but we're here. And I invite everybody, no, please don't shy away from any question. I'm an open book. I love the questions. So I'm Bryan Martinez. I was born and raised by a single mom in La Posada, which is a neighborhood in Southmost. I've been a driven community advocate. Love to build alliances. I love to fight for a lot of the issues that affect our quality of life, and thus making a lot of our communities stronger. And growing up in Southmost, I was always involved in a lot of different organizations, and I got to see the area develop a lot as I grew up. And I don't know if y'all were aware, but District 1 was actually one of the very first incorporated areas in the city. And as those needs continued, as the area continued to grow, so did the needs. And so as we continue to see that, I've seen firsthand how a lot of the resources sometimes are allocated to other districts, and sometimes my district, District 1, is overlooked sometimes. So after being involved so long, I also have a marketing background. I've been in marketing PR industry for about 7 to 10 years now. And I work a lot with nonprofits. That's how I'm involved in the community. I feel very grateful to be in a position where I get to bridge a lot of people together. And so all of these characteristics, all of these things that I do, when the opportunity came out that the district was up for re-election again, I decided to run myself in the race.
So what made you decide to jump into the politics in Brownsville? Because essentially that's what it is. Was there something in particular that happened? Something you've been thinking about, or what caused you to make that decision to jump in?
Manny, even at an early on age in school, I was always very involved. I would be the kid behind the counter, doing fundraising applications and, getting things together. I was student council during my middle school, my high school. So I always knew in the back of my mind I had a lot of leadership instilled in me. I'm not sure if that was because I was raised by my mom and she was single. She was always working. So I also took it upon myself to grow as a person and really find what I love. And what I love a lot is community, is the idea of being able to know who your neighbors are, who the people from the businesses that are around your neighborhood, but most importantly, know who your representatives are. I thought that was really, really key here. And so being involved and I also work for the City Commissioner, Roy de los Santos. So I've been also involved with the city for almost 2 years. And I've seen a lot of how things work at the commission level. And I really felt that my district continues to be overlooked on the commission. And I really wanted for us to have a truthful voice on the commission. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to run, was because I saw that we needed a true voice on the commission. I am from the area. I felt almost obligated to get involved because the people of Southmost are very hardworking people. They're very prideful people, and I want them to continue to have that mentality of Southmost, that we're more than. This lady said the one time I was block walking, she said, "Somos más que un taco, mijo." And I said, I love that, because that is true. Southmost is more than just a taco street. There's so much more that the area has to offer, so much potential. And I think we need somebody on the commission who's going to be an advocate and a fighter for the area. And that's where a lot of this came for me to want to run for office.
Yeah, now you did bring something up that I guess you can say that's one of the 300-pound gorillas in the room, is you do work for the commissioner, Roy de los Santos.
Sir.
Chief of staff is what your title is. Now, if you have success running, and winning this campaign, are you going to relinquish that position you have there? It would seem to me that you would have to.
Yes, sir, that is correct. It's funny you say that, because the commissioner he tasked me one last thing, and he said, your last task as chief of staff is find your replacement. So yes, definitely, I will be stepping down, and once I get elected, yes.
Okay, figured you would, but there are people who had the concern, and like I asked Tino last night. I had Tino Villarreal. He's running for the at large, and I asked him if he was tentative of getting into politics, because once you go public, people start picking at every part of your life.
Yep.
They start attacking you for whatever the reason, and they're called. People like to call them haters, and haters come out. How have you been welcomed by the community overall since you jumped in?
One of the things I continue to be reminded of, Manny, is that knowing your representative is very, very important. And as I continue to knock on doors around District 1, being born and raised there, I see people from elementary, from middle school, who have their kids already, who are professionals in their careers and in their lives. And I see that as an opportunity, because we should be able to know who our representatives are in the city, to whether it be for issues that are going on in your neighborhood, or for things that you have personally in your life. I think having that connection is key for the whole community. I have been involved for a while now in different organizations that cater to community, and people know me out there in the community for being so involved, and they've always asked me, how do you do it? How are you so involved? Why do you do it? And I said, I love being in a position, Manny, where I can make a change, and I see that right then and there. You're right on the front line, and what I mean by that is I have so many people, especially my age, who come up to me and say, "Hey, Bryan, I want to get involved. How do I do this? Or I want to make a change in this. What do you recommend?" And being in the middle, being able to bridge a person to an opportunity, or to a coalition, or to a group of people who have that same goal in mind, it's really empowering for me to be able to make that difference right then and there. And as I continue to see that, not having a position in public office, imagine how much more I could do if I was in a position of public office where I could make those changes from the top and being able to help all those people.
Sure. Now, people have been asking since they found out you were going to be in the program. Was so you have some experience with marketing, so people started asking, all right, wasn't he the guy who was involved with the MIDI Foundation? And it's like, yes. So there was somewhat of a, what do you want to call it, much ado about you working there, getting that position, and then sometime later, I guess you guys separated. What was it? I mean, did you guys part on bad terms, or how did you apply or get that position there?
I did apply once I saw the opportunity that came out. They were looking for a marketing outreach specialist. That's right up my alley. And being a nonprofit is really my niche clients. That's who I work with as a business. And so the MIDI Culture District is whom I worked with, just for clarification purposes. MIDI Foundation, MIDI Culture District, two different entities. I worked for the nonprofit, which was the MIDI Culture District. I did marketing for them. Unfortunately, just like all the other nonprofits, they did work with grants that come to a deadline, and sometimes the resources do run out. And that's the case that happened here. Is that they did not have enough funds to keep me on board, and so at the end of 2022, they did lay me off of that of my job with the MIDI Culture District.
And I know I kind of asked you this just a minute ago, but was there something in particular? Can you pinpoint one thing, or was it a bunch of things? But was there one thing in particular that said, you know what, I need to be a commissioner, and I need to be involved in this or that?
I love that question, because everybody asks me, why did you run for commissioner? Why should we vote for you? And my answer to all of them is always the same thing: is that you deserve to have a voice, but most importantly, you deserve to have an option in your community. And sometimes people forget that the people are at the very top. We have the power. We can make so much change. We can control so much if the community just rallied together and had one voice. There's so many different opinions and points of view out there. It's almost a perfect word that I'm asking for, but what we can do right now is elect people who will have those interests for the people and who have that relationship with them. And that's one of the reasons why I ran, is because I thought that I was an ideal candidate for the commissioner seat on there.
And there was another question that was sent to me offline. I don't know if they're going to mention anything here live or not. So we saw your signs, some good looking signs that you got there, and then somebody took a photo of, and I don't know if you've got a bunch of different signs or if these were just new or you changed them, but one of them says no personal interest, no strings attached, just public service. And I'm not going to say names, but somebody says it sounds like you're maybe firing shots in a certain direction. Is there something in particular you mean by no personal interests?
No, by no means, Manny. I want to be able to reinitiate the trust that the public has with its public elected officials. And one of the ways is being very transparent. And on that same topic, please, no questions are off limits. I love that people have the the ability to be able to ask me all of these questions, because that's what it's about, that we should be able to answer to the people. That message was for me to resonate with the people that, look, my reason for running is to serve the people. I have been serving the people. I will continue to serve the people. But I also don't have any strings attached. You know, you see time after time in so many elections that the same names come out on the elections. And, you know, I want to be that inspiration with the people. I want them to know you do have an option. You do have a choice other than those regular people that are on there. And I want to be that person that inspires people to get involved again. So I've made a lot of efforts. I have a lot of plans in this upcoming weeks up to the election where I really want to demonstrate to the people that I am willing to be that person that's going to be there for the community. I'm going to be accessible by all means.
Gotcha. Now, you said it says no strings attached. Someone can legitimately say, well, you work for Roy as his chief of staff, so would that be considered kind of a string that's attached? You know,
I don't.
how would you react to something like that?
I would say that's an advantage, Manny. It's an advantage that I've worked for a commissioner because I've seen firsthand people in the public see the 10% that happens when the vote comes up on the commission. That's all they see. But behind the scenes, there's so much that happens that gets to that point, and people don't realize that. And that's one of the things that I take very much pride in, that I met Roy about 5-6 years ago, and through Sombrero Festival, we worked with a lot of nonprofits. I helped him in his campaign. I was a very big player in his campaign. And at the end of the campaign, he asked me, would you ever consider being my chief of staff? And again, this was unprecedented. There's been about 2-3 public officials prior to Roy that's had assistance at the city. It's happened before. But going up again, when we started, Manny, there was public information requests left and right. And, you know, we were okay with it. We were okay with it because we said the people deserve to be able to ask the questions and have the transparency. I don't work for the City of Brownsville. I work for the office of Roy de los Santos. He pays me from his own private funds. The city, yes, I do work with the city, but those are kept apart. And we want that transparency to be there, because even when I am able to get on the commission, that is one of the things that I want to be able to do is open up my own office. You know, I'm very grateful for Roy, for Commissioner de los Santos, to give me the opportunity to serve as his chief of staff. But just like I told you, I had leadership instilled in me at a very, very young age. And I've always known that I've always wanted to aspire to be a public servant. And when the opportunity came, I had to come with my tail between my legs, like they say, and tell my boss and say, hey, I think I'm going to do this. And I'm going to be leaving your office, you know, if I get elected. But Roy has been such a great support. He's been such a great mentor. I have great admiration and respect for the man, because it takes a lot of courage to stand up to people, to speak out, to be one vote against 6. I totally get that. And that's one of the reasons why I respect this man so much. And we find a lot of the same characteristics within ourselves, that we work so well together in so many organizations. And I don't shy away from the question, Manny. I think that I think it is an advantage that I'm working for Roy de los Santos, the commissioner, having some experience already with the city, knowing the directors, knowing the city manager and their team. We're already a leg in, if you would ask me.
Gotcha, understood. Let's talk about Tanasca and the PUB situation. How do you feel about that? Where do you think things went wrong, or you know, what? I know you've been hearing things from the very beginning, for the most part, for as long as you've been involved, and then the audit was being done, and then the audit was finished, and it was made public. What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts regarding that situation?
This would fall under one of my priorities for my campaign, which is accountability. Accountability is one of the areas I want to focus on as a commissioner once I get into office. I think the leadership at the time failed the public by not doing its due diligence in asking the questions, in asking for the documents, the reports that they did, everything, for them to see it firsthand. And I get the frustration from the people because they were lied to. Their money was taken from them, and although that didn't happen to me personally, I see firsthand from my family, from a lot of friends that I have that have their elder parents and stuff, that you're telling me that they didn't have to be paying that much, having to stress their lives and do all of these things. So I see the impact. I definitely do, and I feel a lot for it. I think that the leadership now has the ability to hold PUB accountable for that. I think that the money should be returned to the people 100%. The PUB board at that time, let us not forget who was on part of that leadership at that time. That's what I keep telling people. When you go out there, fact check, look for those facts that are out there for the questions that you have, because sometimes when we base ourselves on hearing things from other people, sometimes they're not as factual. And that's one of the things I always encourage people to do. For Tenasca, it's been a change in direction with this leadership we have at the city right now, with the audit report and everything that happened. But I think there's still so much more work to be done. And on this same topic, just to have a really quick side note, I want people to understand the importance of this election itself, because we have 4 seats on the commission coming up. That's a whole voting block in itself. And if we want to continue to be able to hold PUB accountable, for us to continue to be able to give the people the respect and the resources that we're taking from them, we need to elect people that are going to be willing to speak up and that are going to be willing to make a change. Because right now, if we continue down the road that we were going, the people are not going to trust us at all. And I think that that's a losing game for everybody in the city.
Yeah, there's very little trust right now. I'm sure partly with the city commission, a big part with PUB, and at least with the board over at PUB. I think it's been said before, and it's said correctly, that the people who work at PUB, in the lobby there, the workers, the linemen that work out there with the equipment, they had nothing to do with all this. The meter readers, they go out and they're checking all the meters. They had nothing to do with this. So it's not fair that sometimes they're getting insults thrown at them and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where they had nothing to do with it. They're out there working hard for a living, just like all of us are. And I think this whole situation just gave the city a black eye. So this question here, do you know any of the internal auditors from the Leadership Brownsville side? And have you talked to any of them at all? What any other things that have been said about the situation?
I'm familiar with some of the staff members at PUB. I think the auditing was done by Carr, Riggs, and Ingram. They're the ones that did the audit itself. It wasn't anybody from staff at PUB that conducted that audit.
Gotcha. And people are concerned that they're not gonna get the money back. I know it's been said, well, they're trying to figure out how to refund about $29 million of that. And it's been said that a big chunk of that is gonna, PUB is gonna get. BISD.
BISD. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Which doesn't leave a lot, for the common account holder. So that does not leave a good feeling with anybody. And of course, unless something changes, I hope they do try to do something. And Susan Rubalcaba was on the other day, and she made a good point. She was told that PUB is trying to figure out how they're going to refund the money, how they're going to help people who need the help, who may be, in line to get disconnected, who, are living month to month avoiding disconnection. And her point was, Brownsville PUB, just give me my money, my refund, whatever you're going to do, and let me figure out how to help my neighbor, instead of you trying to figure out how to help my neighbor. Just issue the refunds, and we will help each other as a people with you. So, and I think that's a very good point that PUB should probably listen to. And of course, I think the disconnect moratorium, how they're canceling disconnections, just expired last week. I I think they should have kept that going a little while longer because the issue is not resolved yet. So it's only fair that they use that moratorium. But
I'm really hoping that this new CEO at PUB is really open to being collaborative with the city and really seeing the best interest for the people. I know that we have a new chair also on the PUB board, and he's a great man. I really hope that we are able to work towards being able to give back the money to the people, because that's very important right now. Again, it goes back to the trust, to us being able to commit to what we're saying and go through with it. And that's where I feel that we do need city leaders who are going to be willing to go that extra mile for them.
Yeah, in fact, last night, I don't know if you saw, I had Tino Villarreal last night, and I asked him, how did you feel when the audit came out, when he read the audit? And I found his response was very telling. He said, I felt incompetent. He said he felt bad. I felt, what did I miss? What could we have done better? Why did this happen?
Right.
And I think if those sentiments were felt by everyone sincerely, maybe the citizens of Brownsville would feel a little bit better, in addition to get me the money back.
Yeah.
If you know anything about this, why didn't any internal auditors look at the Tenasca books before all this happened? And again, it's one of those things where a lot of things didn't get looked at. Maybe too much was put into a situation without, just like the banking situation now. They're shutting down these banks.
I heard that today.
Yeah, the banks right now, banks need money to function. Banks need to have enough money so that if you go to your bank and say, I need $1,000 out because I'm going to do something, they have to be able to give you that money. So they started running out, and then all the other money that they have saved up, they get to buy, because they're a business, right? So they get to invest and make more money.
Right.
But what happened was they didn't have enough money, so they start selling off the things that they have, real estate, what have you, to get more money. And the problem is they were taking a loss on all these items they were selling just to get cash in. And any kind of transactions like that, you've got to post to the public.
Right.
They posted that to the public. People started to panic. Now you got what's called the bank run, where everybody's running to their bank. Let me get my money out.
All right, and cash out. Yep.
Yeah, and now there's not enough money to give everybody their cash, and that's why the FDIC had to step in. And that's why
this is the whole toilet paper situation all over again.
Yeah, it really is. So when you bank, everyone, be sure your bank is FDIC insured. And because they will step in and give you your money back. Your money is insured as long as they're FDIC insured. So again, somebody was not watching things properly. And it's very unfortunate what happened there. And now they're trying to catch up and trying to make things right. And I hope they do. What do you see are some of the main, give me a couple of them, some of the main issues or problems? I don't want to call them problems, or issues that you see with the city that you would like to jump in or correct or fix, or whatever's on your mind about them.
Well, my other two priorities for my campaign are economic development and quality of life. You're gonna hear me like a record player, but again, reinitiating the trust between the people and elected officials is another one of my main priorities. How can we as city leaders know what's going on in the community if we don't have eyes and ears out there? And it takes more than just listening to them. It's actually acting upon what they're telling you, because if you keep singing to it, it's not going to make a difference unless you act on it. So economic development is definitely one of my top priorities. I want us to be a proactive city for business, and what I mean by that is being prepared to invite investors and businesses to the city of Brownsville. And that could be as easy as putting together a list of making a tour and putting together a list of vacant properties that are up for sale for commercial use, or having traffic counts ready at your disposal. And so when these people come, you have a nice presentation here with them that is very easy to follow and very attractive to the eye for them to be able to see those things. I have a lot of broker commercial friends that have shared many stories with me of investors who won't even consider Brownsville because of, one, they're not very business friendly by its permitting process. We have to fix that. Two, we also don't. Shoot, I lost my train of thought. Being proactive for economic development.
Yeah, being proactive. You think on that for a minute. Being proactive in general, I think would be a good thing. You know, too many times, and I'm talking something basic, like we're going to have 4 days of constant rain, or a hurricane might pass by, and we're going to get a week of rain. And then the day before this is supposed to happen, the city's, oh, we got, come and pick up your sandbags today, like the day before. Instead of preparing for it all week long, the day before the freaking thing hits, oh, come pick up your sandbags. Now people are in line for an hour or more waiting to get, and then they're only allowed a couple of sandbags. And it's like, why does that have to happen? Like, things need to be planned out a little bit better. And that's proactive. I'm real big on the city being proactive.
Sir, and on that same topic, I attended this last week at the eBridge grand opening, and I'm very, very excited about this building because it's the largest entrepreneur center south of San Antonio. This directly feeds into economic development. But imagine us having a boom of entrepreneurs and business owners influxing into our city, yet we have our doors closed because we cannot open for business because they're missing a permit or because they're missing XYZ. We are shooting ourselves in the foot by doing that. And the more economic development we can attract, the more businesses, the more sales tax revenue that's going to be generated that goes directly back into communities. Thus, it even lowers property taxes. It can allow for it to lower property taxes because we depend more on sales taxes. And that's really where I think the sweet spot is for us, is that we need to be a very attractive business city, having a port, having a border, having an airport, a railroad system. I mean, we have everything. We have all of the above. We really are in a beautiful geographic location for us to be able to capitalize on all of these things. And I think that we need to have city leaders who are going to be proactive about that, and work with our boards, with our ADCs, with all of our partners to think regionally. Once we think regionally, we're strength in numbers. There's the possibilities are endless there.
Samuel's asking, when it comes to District 1, what are going to be some of your priorities? We understand citywide and things that you'll have to vote on, but what is something that you would like to see more for District 1? That's the citizens of 1 are interested in that very much.
Yes, sir. One of the, I've countless times come across situations where I want to invite somebody to come and have dinner. If we want to have a full-scale restaurant, we have to travel outside of District 1 because we don't have anything in District 1 for us to be able to go to. Same thing for coffee shops. I'm a big user of coffee shops, going out there doing my work. I like going to public spaces like that. We don't have coffee shops in District 1. So some of these things, again, affect quality of life, affect the ways that we live within our district. And I think that having those establishments in place can really help attract other citizens from around town to visit District 1. I always ask people, just out of curiosity, I'm like, hey, why do you go to the South? Always tell me 3 things: tacos, taxas, y trocas. That's all there is. There's tax offices, there's car lots, and there's tacos. And I say, we really have to remarket ourselves. There's my marketing mind going on. We really have to market ourselves as a place where we're attractive, to be able to have other people visit us in the area. Another concern I hear a lot within the district is about the Southmost Network Center for the police station there in front of the HEB on Southmost. Mm-hmm. That's been closed for a while now. And although I do see patrol units around town, and I also have verified with the police department that they do have resources allocated for District 1, I think that we need to be we need to lend our resources and really work with our departments to see where the greatest needs are. I am also aware that we only have one fire station in District 1. And District 1 has a pretty big radius where the fire station is on one end, yet you have the other side that it's going to take a while for you to get there or something, if hopefully nothing happens. But if something were to happen, for them to be all the way over there. So I think it's really, as we continue to grow, our needs continue to grow as well. And we need to be proactive in the sense of working with the city manager, working with the financial department to have the budget prepared to be able to answer to those needs. One of the things I'm doing right now actively is also listening to the people who live in the district, those that live and pass through things every day and say, hey, we need this and we need that. And we need to make a wish list of necessities that we have in the district. That way, when the city manager, when city leadership approaches me and says, hey, we have X amount of surplus funds, what do you want us to do with this? I'm ready for you. I have top 1, 2, 3 right here. Let's get the ball rolling on here. And beautification, of course, quality of life. You know, being able to work a lot with other organizations who already are doing the work. Like I'm very fond of, what's her name? RGV Cleanup or something of that nature with Richard Hitchcocks, who does an amazing job in going out and cleaning up neighborhoods. And that's what it's about. It's about leaning on other partners and organizations to not duplicate the efforts that are already going on in the city. What we need to do as a city is see where the gaps are so we can fill them in and step in with the community and be able to help them out with that.
Yeah. Taco restaurants, taquerias, as they're called, there's tons. I mean, the whole city of Brownsville. And when you're talking about Sophomores Road, there's, I mean, a great handful there. It would be nice. It would be nice if people would try to diversify a little more and, you know, maybe open up a steak restaurant, you know, like a steakhouse or something, or who knows, maybe even bring a different, a chain, but a different than the usual, you know, McDonald's or,
Right.
Because really, like when it comes to fast food, I'm not saying only bring fast food restaurants here, but you just got the same ones that have been there forever: the McDonald's,
Right.
the Burger King, and the Jack in the Box, right? Something else would be nice, you know. What it is, I don't know what you guys have been thinking of, but something like you said, something different. And I'm not stopping anyone's right to go into business and open up their own taco stand. I'm all for small business.
It'll be a hit. I can promise that.
Yeah, for sure. See, friend, tell us about personal life, hobbies. What are your interests? What do you like to do in your off time, or you got free time, or your days off? Or what do you like to do?
I was raised by a single mother. I am an only child, and growing up, my grandmother would always have me with her. She think I owe a lot of who I am today because of that woman and the person who she was. She really instilled in me a lot of the take off your shirt and help your fellow neighbor. You know, that was ingrained so much in me. So growing up, I would always be either at church. I was an altar server and a lector at my Good Shepherd Catholic Church through my teenage years. As far as I could walk, I was involved. And I was also in baseball and soccer with my family, my cousins. I had 10 plus cousins, so I didn't mind not having any siblings because I had enough cousins who would keep me on my toes. I have a passion for running and cycling. I love doing that. If you all see my Facebook, I have like an album on there that says Sunny Brownsville, SONNY Brownsville. And I'm obsessed with sunrises and sunsets. It's one of my very favorite things to do. I wish that I could paint because I would be painting sunsets every day if I could. But I have a lot of neat pictures of all around town in Brownsville, of a lot of sunsets on there. And I actually, really quick side note, I had some photographer friends tell me, hey, the Museum of Fine Arts actually has competitions for sunsets if you ever want to join one. So I might be doing that next year. I have a lot of photos that I might consider submitting. And my interests are really helping the community. by being involved myself. One of my slogan for my campaign is a new generation of leadership. And I'll go back a couple of minutes when I said that I get approached by so many people left and right who want to get involved and want to be able to make a difference, and being able to be that person that connects them is really my bread and butter for me. That I find it very rewarding. The other thing I love to do, my other hobby, is I love traveling a lot, especially in Mexico, because I love to see other cultures, other communities, how they interact or how they live their lives, and see what has worked for them and bring it back to my community. I can't tell you how many times I've been on vacation and I'm walking and I'm taking pictures of a sign or the sidewalk or something, and I say, this is really cool. I'm going to show this to the city manager, to the city commissioners, that they should consider doing this back home. I think our neighbors to the south really teach us a lot about family values, having that culture where we look out for one another is very strong in District 1. That's one of the greatest values that I see out there, and I wanna continue to foster that. Is that the word? Continue to cultivate that, because it really does it makes me proud of where I am and who I am and where I'm from, in Southmost, and continue to pass that on to generations that are to come. Family is one of the greatest things that was taught to me to always respect and love and always put before anything.
Very well said. Your opponent is the incumbent is North Galanski. Have you spoken with her at all? Do you know her personally? Have you guys discussed you jumping in the race?
We haven't really sat down and had a conversation. Her and I were friends at one point, and I think that me coming out with my announcement for my candidacy, it really did. It may have come off guard for her. All I can say is really it's not against her. I really want the people of Southmost to be able to have a voice, a person that they could relate to growing up there. Being able to approach. I don't have anything against Nurith. I know that we both have the best interests for the community. I want to be able to tell the people that, born and raised in Southmost, it's very near and dear to my heart. And I am in a position where I can serve the people 100% because of my life and what I do in my career. I want to be able to be that person, and I joined this race with that intention, to help the people, to represent the people, and to give them a choice for them to have as for their next leader.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I don't know if how close you were, if you were at all, but some would say, well, if you're running against her or whoever, in that case, whoever is running against someone, it's because they think that person's not doing the right job, or they're not doing good enough, or you think you can do better. So one of the things here, let me throw one more thing at you here. Belinda's asking, what's your opinion on the candidates running for mayor? Now that Trey made his announcement not too long ago that he would not seek another term.
My opinion on the mayor's race is, rather, let me start with this. I want to challenge people and encourage them to look at the facts for the mayor's race, because there's so many rumors and things I've heard out there in the public about all the opponents, and I know the majority of them, especially the ones that are in office right now, because I have worked with them because of the commissioner's office. I think that they have the intentions of serving, of wanting to serve the people. I don't want to endorse anybody. I'm going to be very, very, very clear here. I don't want to do that because I want people to make the decision for themselves. And that's why I encourage, even in my own race, I tell people, you have an option. if you don't vote for me, I'm not going to take it I'm not going to take it offensive, but I want you guys to look at the facts. I want you all to go out there and look for the reasons why. And if somebody were to ask you, why did you vote for that person? You can answer and give a reason why they voted for the person. I want a mayor who's going to be able to work with everybody, because the power at the commission falls within the body, not within its individual commissioners and mayor. And so whomever does end up being mayor, that I hope that they are willing to work with everybody in the commission and have the best interest for the city.
Yeah, I think one of the disheartening things is when someone becomes, for example, mayor, and while they're in office, all of a sudden they're acquiring property, or acquiring real estate, acquiring businesses, and these same people are now they're applying for loans and grants and getting grants, and they're beautifying their own properties, and it almost seems like that's why they went into office, to facilitate all this. And not saying, well, nobody should be allowed to do that, but I think it says something when somebody goes a little too hard with that and they acquire so much while they're there. To me, it seems like Trey Mendez accomplished what he wanted to do, and I don't believe he had the city at heart. That he really wanted to look over it. To me personally, it just seems like he just acquired what he wanted for himself. So, yep, I got this. Now, let me get on my merry way. And
yeah,
I think if there was people that were not like that, somebody who did not need to acquire property or didn't need to, build some kind of a wealth at our expense, I think that's the kind of person that we need. Do you have a favorite, though? Do you have a pick for yourself?
For the race, the mayor race?
Yeah.
I have not.
Not that you have to say it right now. I'm just saying, do you already have somebody that you're looking at or picked out?
There's still a good 40 days out, 45 days out for the election. I think there's enough time for people to get to know the candidates. There's going to be a lot of events coming up. I know that for sure. So please go out there, get to know them. This person is going to be the face of our city, and for us to know them and for them to hear us is very, very important for this election.
All right, and let's wrap it up with the magic question. The elevator pitch. You're stuck in an elevator, and you got 6 people from the City of Brownsville who haven't decided on who they're going to vote for, Commissioner District 1. What do you tell them? Why should they vote for you? What do you have to offer? I'll let you wrap it up with whatever you want to say right now.
Thank you, Manny. The residents of District 1 deserve to have a truthful voice on the commission. And for time after time, we have continued to see that our area continues to be overlooked and underserved. And as our area grows, so does the needs. It's time for a new generation of leadership to step into the commission and make a change and be an advocate for the people in District 1. We continue to see the same people in and out of office, and that has to stop. There has to be time for this new generation to come in and have a seat at the table, because it's our future that is being worked on right now, not their future. Their future is now. Our future is what's to come, and that's the reasons why that this race is very important, because you have a majority of the commission coming up for election, and having the right people in place can only determine whether we can continue forward or move backwards as a city. In this past year alone, we passed the biggest infrastructure bill, the biggest infrastructure budget in the history of Brownsville. We've done the fiber connectivity project. There's been a lot of big game-changing decisions that have been done in the city of Brownsville. We need to have city leaders who are going to be willing to continue to make that work, who are going to be courageous enough to ask the questions of what's going on, to not take an answer and go with it and vote on it. No, it's about having leaders who are going to be willing to stand up, ask the tough questions, ask for the reports, and do what the people, if they had a mic, would do. You are represented by the people, and that's what I intend to be, is a microphone for the residents of District 1, to be able to have a truthful voice in the commission, but most importantly, to continue to progress ourselves as an area and be as great as our city is, because our city has so much potential. And as I grew up in this community, I continue to see the potential that we have, and I want to be able to be the ignition, to be the engine for the district, to continue to work with the other commissioners, to continue to work with other cities, with other countries, and really make what our area has a potential to be. I want to be that person. I want to be the person who is the voice for the people. And that's why I make those kinds of messages out there where I say just public service, because that is what it is. What I want to do is public service for the people. So please get involved. This is a very, very important election. It really determines the future of Brownsville. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to the candidates to get to know them better, make an educated a decision. But also, most importantly, tell your neighbor, tell your family, let them know that there's an election going on, because if we lose sight of the power we have as people, then we will not continue to progress ourselves as a community. So please go out there, vote, get involved. And if you ever have any questions, if you ever want to invite me for coffee or anything, my open door policy has been here and will continue to be here for time being. So thank you, Manny, for having me tonight. I appreciate having a platform. It's not just for us, but also for the people to be able to come out here and ask questions to us. Thank you all for making time for us.
Excellent. And as a reminder, Election Day is May 6th. That's Saturday, May 6th. Early voting starts on April 24th. And the last day of early voting is May 2nd. So if you're not going to be in town or you can't vote on May 6th, please remember April 24th is the first day of early voting. And
I always encourage people, go during early voting. You can go to any location in Brownsville. It's the most easiest and convenient thing to do. Once election day comes, you have to report to your precinct. It's a little harder to find. So please, you have a whole week of early voting. Go out there and vote during early voting.
Yes, and if you haven't registered to vote, it's April 6th. That's your last day that you can register to vote. So keep an eye on that. And remember, if you don't vote, you suck. And don't complain. If you don't vote, don't complain about anything at all.
That's right.
Yeah, feel free to vote, and then you can complain all you want. I'll be right there with you. Bryan Martinez, best of luck. Thank you for spending some of your time with us. And my door is open as well if you want to come back and say anything or address any other issues, or possibly work on a forum or a debate situation with your challenger in North Gallancey. We can look forward to that in the future as well if you like. Everyone, thank you for spending some time with us and getting to know Bryan Martinez. And we've got some other candidates coming up later in the week. I'll make that announcement tomorrow. We're just trying to nail down some dates. And that includes Mr. John Cowan, who's running for mayor, and Cathy Presas, who's also running for commissioner as well. And Linda Macias, also a candidate for commissioner. And I'm still waiting to hear from some of the other candidates. So I'm trying to put a full week together, and I'll let you know when that happens. Everyone have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bryan, thank you again.
Thank you.